Hi everyone, Screamfin' Shriek Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Playboi Carti album, Die Lit. This is the debut full-length album from rapper XXL freshman and ASAP Mob affiliate Playboi Carti, who is coming off of a somewhat hot 2017 with a kind of successful self-titled mixtape and his breakout 2x platinum hit song, Magnolia. Even on this single track alone, Carti proved himself to be a new face to be reckoned with in the rap world. Even if I wasn't crazy about his debut tape, or I thought that his XXL freshman cypher performance was really underwhelming, I still named Magnolia as one of my favorite singles of the year in my 50 favorite singles of 2017 video. And why? Why is that? Why did I do that? Not only is Magnolia an insanely infectious song, but also, to me at the time, it felt like the logical conclusion to everything trap had been trending toward for like the past 7 years. The hypnotic production, the ad-libs, the repetition, all culminating into this raw, euphoric, psychedelic energy. It just felt like the next step in this new wave of rap minimalism. And Die Lit is essentially an extension of that, but this time refined a little bit more, because on this record it feels like Carti has a better appreciation of what exactly makes his music tick, or has at least found better ways to create kind of an entrancing vibe. And in a way it's kind of inspiring to see how much feeling he conjures on these tracks with so little. In a way, Die Lit, while not a perfect record, it is a reminder of the power of simplicity. The song Fell in Love with Bryson Tiller, I think, is a pretty prime example of that. Again, maybe if we stay on the surface of this song and just pay attention simply to the lyrics, the track doesn't seem like much. But it would only be a trick to convince ourselves that there's nothing else going on here. I mean, with the light splashy cymbals and the ghostly skipping synth chords, the reverse lead melodies, the gentle trap drums, and Carti's kind of entrancing, distant flows, the song is actually incredibly relaxing. It's blissful. It feels like it's kind of creating the feeling of love itself. And Bryson Tiller's slightly lo-fi feature actually adds quite a bit to the track. I think it's one of his best features in a while, and it actually adds to the weirdly surreal vibe of the song. Now, in my opinion, this is one of many tracks on this thing that is worthy of compliments and a close ear. Really, the only points on this album that kind of leave me feeling underwhelmed are when a song is so short it's kind of hard to get into the vibe, or when lyrically and instrumentally so little is going on that I kind of feel this sense of stagnation in the track. Songs like Old Money and Foreign and Middle of the Summer are just a little too on the short side. Also with Middle of the Summer, the lyrics I think are just a little too vapid to ignore. The song Pull Up I do have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. While it is too simple to really celebrate, I do kind of like how brazen Carti is in just packing the track out mostly with these weird little high-pitched mouth gun sounds. Pew, 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 psh, 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 psh. No Time, I think, could have had a lot more going on than it actually did. And the song Love Hurts as well is a song that was tough to get into at first, featuring Travis Scott, again, because there just instrumentally is so little going on, but I actually think this moment kind of switched for me a little bit, because it's another moment that is so brazenly minimal that it's like, what? It's like they're really challenging themselves to just be rapping over almost nothing. After a track like this, I think it's kind of hard to argue that Carti is a rapper who is dependent on a beat to make him sound good, because, I mean, his lead vocals and Travis's lead vocals and their ad-libs make more sound in the mix than the beat itself. So with the exception of those tracks that I'm either a little weirded out by or slightly underwhelmed by, a majority of the songs on this thing I think are quite good. I'm pretty enamored with just how uncomplicated and catchy a lot of them are, and not to mention Carti's supremely effortless vibe, his very strange nasally cadence, and tweaked out flows. The song Long Time features these really nice, gentle, cycling, warbly synth chords. Carti's hypnotic flows are kind of enhanced by his ad-libs, which bounce off of his lead vocals, kind of like a nice sharp delay. It's a nice, silky, serene intro to the album, kind of sets the tone for the whole thing really well. The song Lean for Real features these epic and subtly ghosty synth chords. This repetitious mantra of being on beans for real, being on lean for real, being on beans for real, being on lean for real. It's one of many extremely psychedelic moments on the album that are actually overwhelming. Skepta's performance on the track is pretty decent. He breaks up what could have been a lot of monotony on the song. His performance is pretty cutthroat, so that's nice. And then we have the song SHOOTA featuring Lil Uzi Vert, which is not only significant because it's one of the better tracks here, but also because featuring with Carti was a pretty important moment for Carti back in 2017. In a way, Carti and Uzi are kind of artistic kindred spirits. Also, with all the glamorous, chimey synth synthesizers and strings all over this track. Once the beat eventually kicks in, it sounds like a trap Christmas. On the song Poke It Out, we have Nicki Minaj featuring, who for a second tries to get into Carti's style by throwing out, you know, some weird vocalizations and ad-libs. Eventually she gets a bit more lyrical with some creative references to Apple phone, FaceTime, Carti's music, Magnolia. But really what kind of sells the song are the quirky synth leads that have a bit of a woodwind tone to them, and of course the earworm refrain, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out. The song Home KOD is a track just filled with all of these bitter relationship bars. The cycling instrumental is so tight and so, I guess, anxiety-inducing. It makes me feel like I'm trapped in the same bad relationship that Carti is rapping about. The song Mileage features another synthetically gorgeous and luscious instrumental, and I guess I also want to mention this track because Carti rapping about not being interested or not caring about how many partners significant others had before him, by way of saying he doesn't care if your pussy has some mileage. I mean, I don't know, seems like a watershed moment for feminism in the trap genre to me. Yeah, it's a fun. On the Flatbed freestyle, Carti kind of wows me with these weird nasally vocalizations. I think he kind of squeezes his voice into his upper register in some pretty weird ways that makes the song kind of entertaining, definitely an odd standout. It's moments like this that make me feel like this album is legitimately dipping its toes into experimental hip-hop. And the song Choppa Won't Miss not only has a decent Young Thug feature on it, but it also kind of feels like a bit of a musical sequel to Magnolia. The beats are eerily similar, Carti references that track and borrows the same flow from it, but this time it just feels a little nastier, I guess. And speaking of nasty, the song R.I.P. features some of the most aggressive bars on the entire record, snatching people's chains and all that. There are some weird, sour, descending synth lines on the cut and some really grimy, deep, distorted bass. And pretty much that's it for highlights for me. I mean, a lot of good tracks on here. Overall, while the record may feel a little bloated at 19 tracks, and Carti's sound, his style does stretch a little thin because he doesn't do that much with it. Also, with things being as oversimplified as they are, Carti doesn't do a whole lot with structure on some of these tracks. But that pretty much does it for my complaints on this record. Overall, I think there's a lot of creativity here. It's a pretty one-of-a-kind project, at least right now, until maybe dozens of other artists copy exactly what Die Lit is doing. And I can certainly see the temptation to do that going forward, because while what Carti is doing here is incredibly simple, from a technical standpoint, it's probably incredibly easy to just write off entirely, but there is an especially intoxicating, catchy, and almost mind-altering quality to the simplicity of some of these tracks that I just can't get enough of. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well when you sub. Over here next to my head is another video that you could check out. And yeah, that's it. Anthony Fantano, Playboi Carti, forever.